4 o'clock. We're hanging out at Wright Toyota today here in the showroom, and the guys are busy selling automobiles. You can find us right on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. Always Wright Toyota, always right on the price. Rockin' Minutes with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910, 99.9 FM HD2, and also on the iHeartRadio app. Before we bring Hode Rabino on, I want to read this, and then I'm going to get to Hode for his reaction. This is a quote from George Kliakoff, the Pac-12 commissioner. At the media days today, Kliakoff says, there is, and I'm quoting, there is an underlying shift in the media market. It's happening right now. The longer we wait for the media deal, the better our options get, unquote. With that, we say good afternoon to Hode Rabino, Devil's Digest. You can find him on Twitter at Devil's Digest. Hode, Jimmy B, and Manuch, you buying any of that?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Look, I mean, seeing is believing. And ultimately, I understand that the commissioner, is saying what he's saying, and I'm not saying he's being disingenuous or anything like that. But ultimately, until the media deal is signed, until we know it is as lucrative as the one the Big 12 signed just a few months ago, that's going to be the ultimate judgment of whether this media deal for the Pac-12 really is everything that the commissioner said today on record, that athletic directors and presidents have been saying off the record for the last several months. But I would maybe be cautiously optimistic, because I just cannot believe that the commissioner would stand in front of the Pac-12 media here in Media Day in Las Vegas and basically make such a strong statement like that, just knowing that there's at least a 50% chance it's going to blow up in his face.
Oh, the other one that seemingly blew up in his face because it's trending through anybody and everybody that's been there, ESPN, all the outlets, is when he said he was not concerned with any of the other conferences coming in and continuing to poach in the Pac-12 after USC, UCLA, and all the rumors that are coming in about certain teams that may be leaving, and especially when you have a Big 12 conference champion, commissioner, say, look, we're in business. We're going after folks. He said, nothing to see here, and I'm paraphrasing. That one, talk about, okay, what are you looking at and what are you not understanding? That one went viral throughout the sports world of Commissionership 101.
Well, basically, if you're going to leave for greener pastures, you have to make sure that the pasture is really greener to begin with.
Yeah.
And not to belabor the point I just made a second ago, but the Pac-12, and this is off the record, the commissioner definitely did not state that today, but that the media deal, when it comes to just the plain old dollars and cents, the claim is it's going to be just as good as the Big 12, maybe even slightly better. So if that is the message that is being communicated to the president, to the athletic directors all throughout the conference, I just don't see any incentive for any teams to pick up and leave. So, again, you just need to take things right now at face value. And going back to my earlier point, I cannot imagine the commissioner feeling even slightly pessimistic about the media deal and still making those statements on record like he did a few hours ago.
Hode Rabino is our guest. He was at Media Days today in Las Vegas for the Pac-12. Hode, the commissioner came out and said, okay, I'm not going to announce a media deal because we want to talk football. Did they talk football? That's what I want to know from you.
Did they eventually get to talking football?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, he said, I want all the focus to be on football. So somebody asked him a follow-up question, a very natural follow-up question. Okay, does that mean you just have a media deal ready to go and you're just ready to announce it on another day? So the focus, will be on that and not on football. And then his answer, and really covered it behind pretty well. Well, I think you're reading too much into my statement. So again, I mean, this is beating around the bush.
Yeah.
Not saying anything on record that can come back and haunt you for weeks and months to come. But there definitely was some football spoken. I would say that the general theme really was how many talented quarterbacks they are here in the Pac-12. And now you got this rule change where, as you probably know, that the clock is no longer going to stop after a first down unless you're in the 2 minutes of the second quarter as well as the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. So with all this plethora of talent of signal callers in this league, how much can that rule change counteract what they're doing? Because ultimately there are going to be much shorter games in the Pac-12, and really across the country for that matter. So that's going to be a really interesting dynamic to witness this evolution, because this is going to be year one of that rule change. Obviously, another big storyline over here was U of A quarterback Jaden DeLore, and I don't know if you talked to any Arizona beat writers today, but it was definitely an uncomfortable situation, both for head coach Jed Fisher as well as the quarterback himself that was here in Vegas talking to the media. And, you know, it's a matter of he was not found guilty in a court of law, but he did reach a settlement with the victim. He did admit to the rape, and that was according to the reports that are out there. So, you know, definitely you have the public, maybe even obvious public sentiment that he should not be playing football at all, whether it's in Tucson or anywhere else. But the legalities of this, and really that's something that we see in all walks of life, you know, have just enough of a golden path for someone to actually play, to actually continue to be employed in their profession, just because legally they've never been found convicted of a crime. So that was also another big storyline here in Las Vegas.
So, Rabino, devilsdigest.com. You can also tweet him at Devil's Digest. The rankings came out, the preseason media rankings came out. U of A 8, ASU number 10. How much, if any, is broached with these coaches as far as their media ranking or their rankings coming out of the chute?
Yeah, I think Tony Billing has been saying all day here in Las Vegas that he really could care less about his rankings, and he did admit that he doesn't know that much about his team. But look, I mean, I just think when you have an Arizona State team that really is upgraded across the board, whether it's coaching, whether it's offense, whether it's defense, really having better teams that fit the personnel, bringing in so many newcomers that really have bolstered literally each and every position depth chart. I think that this team is definitely better than finishing 10th in the conference. You do have 8 home games. You do have some winnable games on the road. You don't have that many road games to begin with. So I think this all lends itself, and I think we talked about this in one of my previous appearances, that this very well could be a 6-6 team. And look, I'm not saying that to throw a parade down Middle Avenue if ASU achieves that. But one thing I know, and you correct me if I'm wrong, if you finish 6-6, you are way ahead of being 10th place in the conference.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that.
I agree 100%. I'm real curious when UCLA and USC got up on the podium. What was the conversation? Hey, we got one more year and we're out of here.
Well, UCLA is going to be on the podium later on today. UC was up there. I really don't think there were too many Big Ten questions as there were this time last year in the Pac-12 media day when the news was fresher. But look, it really is what it is. The media did not, quote unquote, punish USC for departing the conference next year. They still picked them to win the Pac-12 championship. The sentiment that I happen to agree with. So a lot of great quarterbacks in the conference. I said a minute ago, but Caleb Williams is absolutely phenomenal. As somebody who saw him in person play the way he did against ASU, the hype is definitely real. I don't know if he's going to go Archie Griffin and win back-to-back Heisman trophies. Yeah. But anytime you got a quarterback like that behind center, you have to be really, really happy about your chances. The big question about him, the big question about Washington, who I think number 2, the media did too, is how much can the defense up from last year? Because honestly, when both teams faced an ASU defense that was very average at times, they really had difficulty stopping the Sun Devils in a lot of periods. And as you know, ASU actually pulled the upset over Washington in a dramatic win in Tempe. So to me, as much as we're talking about the quarterbacks in the conference, to me it's about the defenses. Which defense is going to step up more from last year? Will it be USC? Will it be Washington? It's going to be both defenses really stepping up to the same level. And then they're really going to cover their quarterbacks. And very, very explosive offenses. So it's going to be a very, very interesting dynamic. And again, I just think the rule change of not stopping the clock after first downs unless in the 2-minute warning period, so to speak, how much does that affect explosive offenses like USC, like Washington, when the game is going to be short that much? And really, it even Arizona State. I mean, Kenny Dillingham is definitely a lot of this 3-yard part that does type of offense. How much does that affect him? Does it make him more susceptible in a good way to actually sneak up on teams and actually pull victories where if he would be a heavy underdog? That's going to be a very interesting element of it in my eyes to track the entire 2023 season.
Rock and I have had you on for many, many years on the day of the Pac-12 media days, and you've been so good to always come on. And I remember when Mike Leach was coaching at Washington State, we would always first ask us, okay, so what did Coach Leach have to say today? The late, great Mike Leach. Is there anybody that, not that he was the gregarious, outgoing, always had some kind of quip to throw out there? Anything even close to that with these coaches? Because they're so close to the vest and guarded with what they say nowadays.
Yeah, Mike Leach is such an incredible bar to compare to. I don't think any coach could really even come close to that. But I think the coaches were pretty much all laid back. I didn't see anybody being too tight for no apparent reason. Kenny Gillingham was up there on the podium, very, very, very relaxed, being very honest, very, very straightforward. Just traits that I think have served him very well in really turning around this program, not only by attracting so many newcomers and being flat out honest with them as far as what they can and cannot expect by joining the ranks in Tempe, just also being honest about his own team. And he admits that he doesn't know how good or how bad his team is. His team is going to be until the first game is going to play. But I can tell you, when I talk to members of the staff off the record, I think the staff, definitely feels optimistic. I don't think anybody's just losing themselves as the fundamental contenders for the Pac-12 championship. But in my opinion, that 10th place prediction by the Pac-12 media collectively is way too hard. I understand, you're coming off arguably the worst record in program history, and you got a first-year coach, and you got 15 newcomers. How does that all mesh together? And does it mesh together really that quickly that you can even be a middle of the pack soccer program? I do understand that apprehension. Obviously, my viewpoint, as an Arizona State beat writer, is much different than the Pac-12 media collectively. But I think that the staff and the players are very, very optimistic. But as the old cliche goes, that's why it's a game.
That's right. Hey, man, it's always great when you come on. Quickly, I just thought of this. Roughly in about 30, 40 seconds, how disappointed are you that Deion Sanders out of Colorado couldn't come because he had to have more surgery?
Well, honestly, look, I really think the Pac-12 is disappointed because if you look at the schedule of the coaches and players appearing, it's no coincidence whatsoever that Colorado was scheduled to be next to last. Everybody was waiting for prime time to be in the prime time of the Pac-12 media day. So I think that, Pac-12 administrators are definitely disappointed. I talked to some of the beat writers in Boulder. I think they're disappointed too. They're getting really, a lot of questions. As we know, Deion Sanders does have a very, very serious medical condition. I guess two serious medical conditions for that matter. So I think it's really, really hard to even attempt and judge the timing of when he's getting an operation and when he's not, especially when it's really a second operation and not an initial one. It is what it is. As I mentioned throughout the whole conversation right now, there have been plenty of storylines to discuss in Pac-12 Media Day with or without Deion Sanders.
I got you, pal. Hey, listen, enjoy Las Vegas. We always appreciate when you come on the show. Always great information. Thank you, Hode.
Not a problem. Thank you, guys.
There you go. Hode Rabino and Devil's Digest on ASU and the cluster that is going on right now at the Pac-12 Media Days in Vegas. All right, a quick break. When we